You know what nobody talks about? The generation born between 1965 and 1980, the person who has enough. Enough money, enough stability, enough years of grinding to finally rest, but they can't. They're up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. They're checking emails on vacation. They're taking on more projects when the current ones aren't even finished. Their partner says, slow down. Their body says, slow down. Everything says, slow down. And they can't explain why they won't. Everyone around them sees the drive, the output, the relentless forward motion. Nobody asks what's chasing them. And there's a specific psychological reason why Generation X cannot stop working even when every logical signal says they've already done enough. It's not ambition. It's not greed. It's something that got wired into them so early and so quietly that most of them have never once questioned it. By the end of this video, you're going to understand yourself or someone you love in a way that finally makes that restlessness make sense. Go back with me for a moment. You're 11 years old. It's a Saturday morning. Your parents are already gone. One at work, one running errands, maybe both working. The house is quiet and the day is completely unstructured in front of you. And here's what's interesting. You didn't just sit there. You found something to do. You cleaned something that didn't need cleaning. You organized something. You helped a neighbor. You took on a task nobody assigned you because somewhere in your nervous system doing nothing felt wrong, felt unsafe, felt like a trap. Other kids your age were sleeping until noon, watching cartoons, doing nothing without guilt. But you couldn't quite get there. Could you? Because in your house, productivity wasn't just encouraged. It was survival. When your parents came home tired from work, the worst possible answer to, what did you do today, was nothing. Nothing meant lazy. Nothing meant you weren't pulling your weight. Nothing meant you were a burden on people who were already stretched thin. So you learned to always have an answer, always have something to show, always be doing. And that lesson didn't stay in childhood. It followed you into every job, every relationship, every quiet Sunday afternoon for the next 50 years. The moment you stop, really stop, something in you sounds an alarm, a low, persistent hum that says, this isn't safe. You should be doing something. You should be producing something. You should be earning your place. That alarm has been running so long you stopped noticing it. You just call it work ethic and keep moving. Psychologists call this compulsive productivity syndrome. And research shows it develops specifically in children who grew up in high accountability environments where love and approval felt conditional on output. Not cruel parents, not unloving parents, just tired ones, stretched ones. Parents who praised results because results were what they understood. Parents who showed love through providing and expected love back through performance. When a child repeatedly receives warmth in response to doing and distance in response to being, the nervous system draws a very logical conclusion. Your value is in your output. Rest is a liability. Stillness is dangerous. And the brain doesn't just learn this intellectually, it encodes it physically. Researchers studying compulsive work behavior have found that for people with this pattern, rest doesn't feel like rest at all. It feels like threat. The nervous system actually produces mild cortisol spikes and the stress hormone during periods of enforced inactivity. Doing nothing is genuinely physiologically uncomfortable. Not laziness, not choice, biology. Your body learned to be productive the way other bodies learn to breathe. But here's what that wiring cost you, and this part matters more than most people admit. You have never once in your adult life been fully present. Not at your children's birthdays, not on your best vacations, not on quiet Sunday mornings that were built for exactly this. There's always a part of your mind running the list, calculating what's undone, measuring how much time is being lost to this moment of stillness. Your partner has felt it, the way you're physically there but mentally somewhere else. Somewhere productive, somewhere useful, somewhere earning your keep in a world that stopped requiring it years ago. And the cruel irony is this: the harder you work, the less you feel you've done enough. Because the goal was never a number. The goal was the feeling of being enough. And that feeling was never attached to the work in the first place. It was attached to something that happened long before you ever had a job. So you keep working, hoping that the next project, the next achievement, the next completed task will finally be the one that quiets the alarm. It never does, because you're solving a childhood equation with adult currency, and it doesn't add up. It was never supposed to add up. If you've ever taken a week off work and spent the entire first 3 days feeling vaguely anxious, slightly guilty, unable to fully relax, not because anything was wrong, but because your nervous system genuinely didn't know what to do with the silence. You already know exactly what I'm talking about. But here's where the research takes an unexpected turn. Because psychologists who study high performance across generations, who look at who actually builds things that last, who creates genuine stability not just for themselves but for everyone around them, they keep finding the same profile at the center of every lasting structure. People who learned early that rest had to be earned. Not because rest is bad, but because the discipline built by decades of compulsive productivity created something that most people spend their entire careers trying to develop in coaching sessions and productivity courses. The ability to show up completely and reliably regardless of motivation, mood, or external reward. Gen X doesn't work when they feel like it. They work because working is what they are. And in a world increasingly full of people who need perfect conditions to produce, that unconditional output is extraordinarily rare and extraordinarily valuable. There's something else the research shows. The same people who cannot stop working also report the highest levels of what psychologists call constructed meaning, the tendency to find genuine purpose in work that others would consider routine, the ability to care deeply about the quality of something even when nobody is watching. To do it right, because doing it right is the only way they know how to do anything. You don't just work hard. You work with a standard that was set so early it feels like your own invention. But it was actually the gift of parents who needed you to be capable, and in needing that from you, accidentally built something in you that most people never develop. You became someone the world can count on, not because you chose reliability, because reliability chose you. So what do you do with this? Not to stop working. That's not who you are, and it probably never will be. And honestly, everything you've built, your career, your reputation, your financial stability, everything your family depends on, was built by that alarm running faithfully for 50 years. You don't dismantle the foundation of your own house. But there's one small distinction worth learning to make. There is a difference between working from strength and working from fear. Working from strength looks like this. You choose to work because the work matters, because you're genuinely engaged, because building something real gives your life meaning and you know it. Working from fear looks like this. You cannot stop even when you want to, even when your body is asking for rest, even when the people you love are asking for your presence because the alarm won't let you. Because somewhere an 11-year-old is still waiting to have a good answer when they ask what you did today. You don't have to stop working. You just have to occasionally ask yourself, which one is this right now? Am I working because I want to build something? Or am I working because stopping still feels like it means something about my worth? That question alone, asked honestly, is the beginning of working like a man who already knows he's enough, not a boy still trying to prove it. You never learned to rest because nobody taught you that stillness was safe. And then you spent the next 40 years building everything everyone around you stands on. You didn't just work hard, you worked like it mattered. Because to you, it always did. That's not a compulsion they forgot to treat in you. That's the whole architecture of you. And everything standing in your life right now, your home, your family's security, the people who sleep soundly because you stayed awake, it exists because you never once decided you'd done enough. That's not a flaw, that's the foundation. Before you go, I want to ask you something, and I want you to actually answer it. Think about the last time you tried to do nothing, really nothing, and couldn't make it past an hour. What did you do instead? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one.